All right. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, guys. We are live. This is episode number 338, Eddy Live Show. We're coming to you live from Taipei and Toronto, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's always awesome to meet Taiwanese people that are, of course, living in Taiwan, but also living overseas doing cool stuff. So we met you at the restaurant, like we were saying a few weeks ago. And I thought, yeah, this will be a cool one. We thought maybe we'll wait till you come back, but I'm an impatient man, so I thought when you get back here, we'll do another one in person. Yeah,
Yes, please. I want to have that beer with you,
please
like at
do.
that
Yeah,
podcast table that you have.
yeah. It's been doing the podcast for a few years, and
Mm,
basically because there's just a lot of cool people that come through the restaurant, come through Taiwan, and we just try to share some Taiwan love, right? I mean, a lot of people they don't know that much about it.
yeah,
And so we try to share that. Yeah,
Taiwan has a lot of love to give.
that's right. That's right. It's awesome. I love it. I've been here for a long time, but we are here to talk about you. So maybe you can introduce yourself before we kind of dive in.
Okay, where do I start? I am Tiffany. I'm currently based in Toronto. I am a life coach, a facilitator. I'm also a dancer. I left home in Taiwan when I was 14. I came to Canada on my own. I think that's a story that's worth telling.
For
And
sure.
yeah, and I just kind of been here since. Taiwan is still my home. I come back every year. But my life kind of well, after I graduated, my life kind of started in corporate, and pretty much half a year in, I was like, this is not it. Like, I don't want to work for
Yeah.
other people for the rest of my life. So then I
Right.
was like, what do I do? And I ended up actually stumbling upon real estate investing,
Wow.
and I was making 30K a year at the time in Canadian dollars, and then
Yeah.
I invested 20K to learn how to invest in real estate. So that
Wow.
was such a big investment. I borrowed money from the bank, but I was just like, I went all in. So that was another leap of faith that I
Yeah.
took. But I was doing real estate investing for a few years. After a few years, I still was like, you know what? It was great and all, but like it felt like I was chasing money. Like
Yeah.
that's the end goal.
Yeah.
And it just didn't really feel meaningful to me. So then I've always been very passionate about people doing what they love for a living. And I always have a passion in empowering people, personal development, healing, spirituality. And that got me on the path today that I ended up starting my career as a life coach, facilitator. And now I do that as well as working at this place in Toronto, where it's an ice bath sauna place where we guide people through breath work, meditation, all that jazz in the hot and cold.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That's quite an intro. Oh my gosh. Yeah, where do we go from here?
I
All right.
went
The
all
podcast
in
is
for
over.
you.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So obviously you mentioned you were born and raised in Taiwan, right? And then you
Mhm,
left at 14, right? So let's go back a little bit and talk a
mhm,
little bit about maybe Taiwan, that kind of the upbringing in Taiwan, some unique things, and then we'll
mm,
talk about jumping into Canada if that's cool.
okay.
Because everybody loves Taiwan, right?
Yes, I love Taiwan. I was born and raised in Taiwan. Do you have any questions? Should I just go ahead?
No, shoot. I got all my stuff here, but I love it
Okay.
when you talk. So let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was born and raised in Taiwan. I feel like I grew up being a very empathic kid. I felt a lot, and I was like, people always be like, "You're so sensitive," and
Oh,
I used to take that as like a negative thing.
okay.
Um, and but then I felt like it was weird because growing up, I always felt a lot of expectation upon me from my family, from the culture, from the society. Um, like there was a lot of expectation. Like for example, I always say this example is that like there's even expectation of like what I should look like. Like when I used to go get a haircut on the way to my hair salon, my mom would call the hairstylist and be like, "This is the haircut she can take. This is the haircut she can't have."
Very
You know,
Taiwan.
that's the
Yeah.
level,
Yeah.
right? You can
Yeah.
relate. So
Yeah.
that's the
Yes,
level of
sir.
expectation that was being put upon me. But yet what I should choose to grow up and whatnot. But then I always felt like I actually used to read a lot as a kid, and I watch a lot of like the Western movies and the HBO
Awesome.
and all that.
Yeah.
And I was like, why can they be singers and dancers? And like, here we are, have to like work in a corporate. That's what we should aspire
Mhm.
to. So I think I always had an affinity of like the individualistic kind of model of life of the Western world, where like
100%. Yep.
you are your own person and you are able to become anything you want to be, as long as you put your heart into it. So I think growing up in Taiwan, it's like there's so much pressure. I don't know if your kids go through this, like the bushi
Yeah.
band, the after school
Yeah.
program, the cram school. Like that's like my childhood growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just didn't really feel like I belong anywhere, and also I could be myself. It was just like my life was being scheduled. It was already arranged for me. So I always had like a almost like a desire and a fantasy of like, oh, what would be like if I can be like them? I can actually be what I want to be. And then whenever I position myself with that, and it was always met with like, you're funny, like 你想太多了, or like,
Oh, yeah.
like, oh, you're so funny, you're just a kid. Yeah, so it was interesting because when I turned 14, I have an older brother.
Okay.
He was around 17 years old, and at that moment, my parents were actually thinking about sending him studying abroad. So the four of us, we went to Canada. I mean, like check out some schools, talked to some school counselor, and did a lot
Mhm.
of research. And throughout the whole trip, my parents were like, "Oh, like how amazing studying abroad can be! Like you're
Yeah.
gonna increase your perspective. You're gonna be ahead of everyone else, speaking English.
Yeah.
They're mainly speaking to my brother."
Oh,
But I was this little tag along, and then I listened, I heard everything. And by the end of the trip, they were like, okay, so what do you think, Thomas? Like, do you want to come study abroad? And he was like, no, I want to stay in Taiwan. And then I was like, I do. And then, so it was really tough for my parents because in that moment, they had a very important decision to make that shaped both of our lives. Are
yeah.
they going to make decisions based on what they think is good for their kids or what their kids think are good for themselves?
Yeah. That's huge, actually, because my daughter's 14. I have
Oh my
one.
God.
Yeah. And she goes to local school. But this is, I mean, kind of similar, but off topic. She did her everything in local school, and then she did the bushiban, anjinban, all that stuff. And I taught here before, and I thought also that's not great. So this year, she's in grade 8 now. So
Mhm.
we decided in September to do like a 50-50 thing where she's kind of like with me like half the time, like a homeschool slash like online school thing.
Mm.
And then she goes to local school for certain things. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's also not perfect, and it takes a lot of my time up, but I don't want to send my kid away. I'm like, I want to keep my little girl with me. And so
Yeah.
that's tough.
14,
So
you can imagine is
it's
very young.
tough.
Like at the
Yeah.
time I was like I was a grown up, but I'm like
Yeah.
14 is very young.
Yeah. So basically we've been doing that, and I still send her to local school for Chinese and math
Mm.
because
Okay.
Taiwanese people destroy
Math.
at math. They're amazing,
Yeah.
right? And mine is horrible. So that's perfect for me. But so what was your thought process thinking like I'm I'm going like because she's exactly that age right now, and she's kind of
Mm.
like a little bit of a baby. She's like, hey dad, let's hang out. So you're like, I'm gonna go. What was the process for you as a 14-year-old thinking, I love this, I'm leaving? That's crazy. I love it. But I don't want to cut you off. Go again. Yeah.
No, it's interesting because there's so many aspects of it. But I would say the biggest of it was, um, in the sense is that like innocence is bliss.
Got it. Yeah.
Like I feel like there's such a decision that at such a young age, you have no awareness or almost like you have no capacity to even fathom what that is like
Yeah.
to live in another country, to be like not speak your own language, but I think for me, and this is what I have been consistent in all my life, is I always honor my intuitive pull, like even at such a young age,
Yep.
is there's such a strong intuition for me to go there. And I think with the circumstances of like what was going on when as a teenager, it's like what I said was like I didn't really feel like I could be myself. Like I think that was a really big element.
Yep.
And I think I was doing a lot of things that were just like, oh, like life was arranged for me. I didn't really have any sort of sovereignty in like what I
Sure.
wanted to do in my life.
I know it.
Yeah. So I think there was just it's in a way, it's almost like an escape. It's like, oh my God, maybe
Sure.
this is my way out into myself.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing because again, we're kind of going through the same thing. And, right now everybody's like, oh my God, you're making a huge mistake, because I feel that so like I'm an entrepreneur. I've been doing it for a long time, and I coached soccer since I was a kid. I coached, even younger kids, and I came here, I was teaching, I was coaching, I was doing a lot of different things, and I loved it.
Mm.
And I thought that, again, being an entrepreneur is tough. I think it's a harder path because a lot of people, they do their 9 to 5, and if they want to make extra money, maybe they'll invest and stuff like that. But that's I don't want to say that's easier, but I want to say that a lot of people they don't like what they do, right? So they're just kind of like, I do this job. Like even here, I know a lot of like foreigners, expats. When I taught English here, I loved it because I've been coaching soccer my whole life. I love kids, especially like little kids. I love kindergarten. I taught kindergarten for many years, and that was probably my most fun job. And even now, I still sometimes because I've been here for a long time, I have a lot of connections. Sometimes I will get, a call that's like, hey, can you do like a summer camp for a week? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Right. So it's fun. I like it. And for me, doing like a summer camp nowadays is almost like a mental vacation because
fair with the kids. Wow.
Like, yeah. Because I'm like, this is great, And for example, I did one last summer, and I brought it was a pretty open one, and they're like, you know what, at the end, the kids have to have this project, and I was kind of brainstorming with other teachers, and most of them were just kind of doing like the basic, like give a little speech or whatever. And what I did was I put them in groups, and everyone created like their own podcast, and I brought all my gear and I recorded, and it was pretty cool. The kids loved it, parents loved it, and so it was really cool. So it's cool that I can still kind of keep learning, but then when I go back and teach, kind of implement that. And I know that a lot of kids here, I mean, they're so busy. When I first got here, I know that I was in like my early 20s, and so you go out to a club or to a bar or something, and it'd be about like 10 p.m. on a Friday night. Kids were still coming home in their uniforms. They're cramming their homework in there and stuff, and it's crazy. And I always thought like I won't do that when I have a kid, but you know what? When I had her, we put her in like local elementary school. That was good because Chinese is hard, right? Like especially the reading and the writing, it's hard. Like I can speak and stuff, but like to this day, reading and writing, I never really studied. So I can read a bit, but not much. So I want to make sure she gets that because I think English is way easier. And I think my family's Mexican, obviously. So, we speak Spanish too. So I want to kind of get that in there, but I want to make sure she keeps, the Chinese because I think it's valuable. And so anyways, we did all that, and it ended up being good until junior high. And then junior high is the time where it's like, hey, you need to choose what you're going to do with your life. And I'm like, well, she's not going to cram school. So we never did that. But it's still, even without cram school, there's so much homework. It's a long day, and then a few hours of homework, and then tests almost daily. So I would see like my little girl just like burnt out when she was like 11, and I'm like, this is bullshit. We're not doing this. And now I think with the last year or so, with kind of like the advancements of AI with education and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, we definitely don't need that. So So yeah, so it's been good. We've been implementing a lot of stuff, and I don't want to keep talking about it, but yeah, it's been good. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly what you mean for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's very, I guess it's like very synchronicity in the sense that, I was talking about how I left at 14
Yeah.
and your daughter is 14 right now.
Mhm.
And but it's like the generation in some way there's echoing that similarities that it's
Sure.
still freaking the same bullshit of cram schools, but now
It's
you're making a
crazy.
different choice as a
Yeah.
parent, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
And like 90% of the people are like, oh my gosh, you're making a huge mistake. And I'm like, we're gonna do it for a year and see how it goes. It's not perfect because sometimes I get busy, and then she'll just, similar to what I would have done when I was in school. You're kind of half-ass it, and then you just play video games. So I'm like, okay, well, we can't just do that all the time. I understand sometimes, but so we're working on the discipline side, but yeah, it's a long process. You have to go to apply for these like experimental homeschool boards, and you got to give
Mm,
presentations, and they're so vague about it. So we went, and it's funny because my wife is Taiwanese, right? So we went to do this presentation, and from what I understood, we're going to go through this whole application, and I'm going to explain each page very, very like Taiwanese. I'm like, okay, so I prepped for that, and then when we went in there, they're just like, okay, Leah, just, explain, tell me about your homeschool. And it totally threw us off. So we did okay. But like after that, my wife's like, you guys fucking bombed that shit. I'm like, hey, because
oh
she's like,
no.
but in the end, they're like, okay, so next time, maybe you guys can prepare, something different. But I mean, for
Mm,
me, prepping a presentation, I mean, that's what I do. But I'm trying to
yeah.
follow the Taiwanese, follow this way. So next time we'll nail it. But it was kind of stressful because we're like, what? Yeah, it's kind of crazy stuff.
Well, that's awesome because
Yeah.
I was also recently talking about homeschooling with my friends in Taiwan. So you're kind of taking the head and trying it out. So if I ever have kids one day in the future, I'll come to you
Hit me up
for
for sure. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
homeschooling tips.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny because it's always like in the West, especially, it's always like, oh, kind of, it's for weirdos or whatever. But I mean, I feel like, I don't think that it, like if Taiwan, like I always say, if Taiwan was, just pumping out like these amazing, like super creative, blah, blah, blah people, that then I'd be like, suck it up, kid, just do it. But I feel like everybody, they kind of put everybody through the same mold. And it's like, guys, so I think junior high to high school is just kind of a blur for everybody.
Yeah, it
They
really
hate it.
is.
They hate
Yeah.
it. And then in college, they start to think, well, I kind of, maybe I like this, maybe I like that. So I feel like let's just start, a little earlier with that, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah,
Yeah, and it feels as if that, like you said, it's like they burned kids out. And
totally.
then now by like grade 12, it's like, okay, now pick one career or pick
Yeah.
one major that you're gonna
Do
do
for
for
the
the
rest
rest
of
of
your
your
life.
life. I'm like, what do I know? I know
Yeah.
nothing.
I can't even imagine being, in high school and having to choose, what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And I think that
Yeah.
that does happen, back home, just not as much. And I feel like it's hard because kids don't know what they want to do. And then if they're forced to choose so early, they they for sure are not going to choose the right thing. And then that ends up, them being in an unhappy job. And then that's crazy. It's a bad
It's just
cycle. So
setting them up for failure. It really
yeah,
is.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's not a good thing. But yeah, let's get back on topic here. Yeah. Sorry, I got time. So let's tell me, okay, so you're 14 years old. You're like, I'm gonna go. Now you're on the plane. I'm guessing someone brought you, or did you?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
Yeah. So
My mom
so
brought
okay, you and mom are on the plane. You're
yeah.
landing in Canada, and you're like, okay, you're setting up. You're going to school and stuff like that. Maybe tell me a little about that because I know that it's a very, very popular thing in Taiwan. People are like, you know what? I'm just going to send my kid to Australia. I'm just going to send my kid to the States or to Canada. And a lot of people do it, but not as many as you would think. So tell me
Mm.
about that experience. I think people will love that. I know it's not going to be an easy experience, but tell me about it.
Yeah. So I think the only reason why my parents were okay, like I wanted to say that they love me. It's not that they're like,
Sure,
oh yeah,
sure,
there
sure,
we
sure.
go.
It's so hard. It's a
So
very hard thing to do. Yeah.
yeah, the only reason why they're okay with this decision, so we have a family friend that are also Taiwanese that are there, and they were actually my host family in Vancouver when I first came to
Gotcha.
Canada. And I think that's why my parents were okay with like, oh, there's someone that they trust that, are taking care of me. So I
That's
was
huge.
staying with this host family for like 4 years in Vancouver. And to be honest, I feel like at such a young age, like the beginning of it was sure, like it was fresh and exciting. But then I think once it started hit me about like, oh, I'm actually separated from like my familiarity. And I then pretty much actually quickly hit uh depression.
Sure.
I was
100%.
I and at the time, it's like it's not like anyone diagnosed me, but like you were depressed, but like, I feel like now that looking back, I was pretty depressed. Yeah, like I think they were like for a few months in a row, I was just crying every
Yep.
day, every other day. And when I was young, I didn't really know. I was so far away from my friends, and like we would go on MSN. Like that's the only thing I look forward to every day after school. Just like find my Taiwanese friends and like
Yep.
talk to them to
Mhm.
find a sense of um, belonging. And I think that was a big thing for me was um, it was probably like the the loneliest time I've ever felt.
Yep.
Um, and at such a young age, I also didn't really know how to navigate it. And also, I feel like I had a sense of pride as well, because
Sure.
ultimately I was the one who decided that I want to study abroad. So
Yep.
actually, even up until now, I never really told my parents about the negative things that happened in
Sure.
my life when I was in Canada. Like when I was sad or when I was sick, when I got into a car accident, like I never really told them.
Ouch.
It's almost like it's like, oh no, like I need it. But it's like it's a blessing as well, because it's almost like I'm gonna make it work.
Yeah.
It's like I went through all of these. I suffer, and I think what really got me through that period of loneliness is I didn't have a choice but to turn to myself for support.
Yeah.
And I grew up like I had a habit of journaling or writing diary.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, I still journal up until this day, every day
Wonderful.
pretty much. And it was through that I became my own best friend, because I was feeling so isolated with the language barrier, with like such a shock of like the differences of the environment, the people. Um, so that really set up a foundation of the connection I had with myself. Um, yeah.
I think that's amazing because I actually know the feeling quite well. I came here. I wasn't 14. I mean, that's amazing. I was playing video games all day when I was 14. But I mean, I came here when I was about 22, 23, zero Chinese, right? Knew
Mm,
nobody. And I thought I'm going to come for maybe 1 or 2 years. And it was a cool experience. It's just, it's very different, right? One of the cool things is that because my family is Mexican, there was a lot of similarities with Mexico and Taiwan. Like, for example, like the night markets and kind of like the hustle and bustle of the nightlife, which is awesome. So I found that for me in the end, Taiwan was kind of like the best of both worlds. It's similar to, in
mhm,
between Canada and Mexico. Like Canada, it's nice, it's safe, but I come from a really small town. I think everything like at 5 p.m. everything's closed,
yeah.
except for the bars. So, that makes for a lot of alcoholics, right? And Mexico is kind of like the opposite. Everything's open late, night markets and street food and stuff like that. Canada does, maybe now they might, but that's probably because the immigrants kind of brought it. But at that time I was there, which is 20 plus years ago, it didn't have any of that. And so I loved Mexico. And when I came here, you start to go to the night markets and you see like, like in Mexico, for example, one of the snacks we always have is sugar cane, right? And you have these packs of sugar cane and you just kind of chew and you just spit, right? That's what everybody does. And when I came here and I was going through a night market, I found like a sugar cane guy who had those packs, but also that like grinder machine where they just like squeeze the juice out. I'm like, this is even better because then I don't have to like chew and spit, right? I was just drinking. So that's like to this day, one of my favorite drinks. And so I found that Taiwan was just, it was amazing. But definitely when you're by yourself, like I also didn't tell my parents about all the crazy stuff I had to go through when I was changing jobs. One of the schools, they really liked me. And they're like, no, you're not changing. And the government gave, at that time, it's not so bad now, but at that time they gave so much power to the employer. So they're like, no, we're not going to transfer you ARC. No. I'm like, but I finished my contract, so I want to go try somewhere else. And they're like, no. And I'm like,
no, so you're stuck.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna go anyways. So I went to the other place, and by the time the new place processed my ARC, I was blacklisted by the other school. They're like, oh, this guy's really bad with kids, and like I was on this blacklist, so I got rejected for all this stuff. I had to go to Hong Kong and get like a visitor visa. I had to take these like this thing called Star Cruises, this like sort of cruise line from Geelong that goes into like international waters, comes back just so I could get like a visa stamp. Like I went through some hell.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to go through hell to stay here.
Crazy.
It was crazy. But that stuff, actually, I've never really told anybody that. But you were telling me.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah. And also, like, my family doesn't know that. They only know the good stuff, right? The food is good. People are nice. There's some hell I also went through to stay here. So I 100% understand you. I don't know if I would have been able to do it at 14, though. So that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Well, if you had to, you made it work.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's it, right? Like sometimes people, they're like, oh, the restaurant. And then, through COVID, that was rough, right? Again, that was crazy. And so, yeah, you just have to. And I have friends that also have restaurants and they've closed them. They're, these guys are amazing chefs and stuff like that, but they've closed their restaurants down and they're like, how do you keep doing it? I'm like, I got to, I just have to, I got the wife, I got the kid. We've basically been doing this for a long time. And I mean, what am I going to do? Go back to teach? I don't mind teaching, but I don't want to have wasted, 20 years. And so now things are going pretty good. Obviously income is hit or miss sometimes, but that's kind of the entrepreneur life, right? So craziness. Yeah.
Well, I think also other than the income, it really shapes us into who we are.
Agreed.
I think entrepreneurship is such a character development camp. Yeah.
It's like a crash course in like, sometimes, you see these memes of like, this guy, there's like a war going on behind this guy and it's like raining and there's like tornadoes and he's just sitting there kind of eating his food. That's kind of what I feel like a lot of the time where, this guy quits and government's checking on, somebody reported you, neighbor reported you for something because of noise and it's just like, okay, yeah, bring it on. Let's go. Right. It's just normal. It's just life. Yeah. It's crazy.
And it's like, I think I remember someone asked me, I was like, oh, like, how do you it's like, oh, do you ever have breakdown? Like being an entrepreneur? I'm like, I break down all the time. Like, that's not even a question. Like
Exactly.
it's not about not having breakdown. Like that is part of the deal with entrepreneurship.
I feel like entrepreneurship humbles you so much because you just get broken like almost daily. At least weekly for sure. You're just crushed somehow and you're like, oh my gosh, and then you got to go into the restaurant and be like, hey guys, how's it going? Another drink or whatever. And you're just like, whoa, it's a crazy lifestyle. Yeah.
In a way, it expands our capacity to be with everything more and more, like the risk, the struggles, but also the reward, the joy, and but yeah, I hear you.
This is crazy. Yeah. But so tell me a little, like, is there a Taiwanese like community in Toronto? I guess so, right? But I don't know. I know in Vancouver it's huge, but I've never really been to the east side of Canada, because first of all, Canada's massive, right? Obviously. And domestic flights, when I was there, I don't know how it is now, but when I was there, domestic flights were crazy. So for example, is it still? Yeah.
It's still quite pricey.
Yeah. So for example, again, my family's Mexican. So for us to go Vancouver to Toronto is more expensive than Vancouver to Mexico.
Yeah.
So it's probably still like that, which is a shame.
It's still like that.
That's crazy. And so for us, we'd go back to Mexico like all the time. Like my grandparents, cousins, everybody's still there. And that's why I think I love Taiwan so much, that it reminds me of Mexico, but kind of like the best parts of Canada, the best parts of Mexico. People are friendly, good food, safe, street food. Yeah, I don't know. It's welcoming, right? So yeah, I think that's probably why I like it so much. But tell me about Toronto as a Taiwanese kind of, tell me about that, because people love that. Yeah.
Well, I feel bad for saying this, but I actually haven't gotten myself into like a Taiwanese community here.
That's awesome.
I don't know if that's awesome or not.
No. Let me just jump in quickly before you finish that, because I know a lot of people, including not just Asians, but like Mexicans and Portuguese and stuff like that. When they go to Canada, they kind of stick in their group, right? So they don't really learn about different countries and different cultures, and even sometimes the language, right? So when I came here again, I wanted to make sure, I'm like, I got to learn the language if I'm going to stay. So I think that it's amazing that you just kind of were like, boom, instead of being in that comfort zone of being like, let me just stay in my little Taiwanese box, I'm going to step out and I'm going to be Canadian. So tell me about that. I love that. Yeah.
So I think that's actually how I felt when I first came to Canada, because I was in Vancouver, and when you first came, you are placed as an ESL placement in school.
Sure.
So you're surrounded with most people who are also learning English. And so then I was surrounded with a lot of Taiwanese community and Asian community, which are really nice. But then I remember at the end of the 4 years when I was applying for university, I was kind of like, if I chose a university that I know had a lot of Asian population, or I knew I would continue to be in this environment, then was I really studying abroad?
I love that. Mm-hmm.
So then I ended up, I don't know if we are familiar with Canadian universities, but I ended up choosing Western.
Okay. Yeah.
So Western, at the time, University of Western Ontario, now Western University, they're really known for their best student experience. So they have a really well planned and like Frosh Week. So it's like really integrated.
I haven't heard that word in so long.
I mean, neither have I. It's been a long time. But like, I think part of it, I intentionally was like, you know what? I wanted to put myself in an environment that is that is different, that I actually got to meet people from outside of my own culture, outside of my own familiarity. And it's interesting because I remember at the time I got into like a few other universities that were like internationally recognized, academically like top 100 university, and like that's all the schools that my parents wanted me to go to. And I just remember when my parents, everybody that I talked to, my friends, my siblings, my parents, like everybody was like, you should go to U of T. But then it's, again, my heart was like, no, like I wanted to go to Western, because I felt like I know like the experience is really what's going to shape who you are. Like, do I really care if this school is like top 100 or not? So I remember when I chose,
in the grander scheme, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
So I remember when I actually, despite everybody's encouragement for me to choose U of T, I ended up choosing Western. And I remember when I chose Western, I called and I told my mom. My mom hung up on me and called my friend's mom and cried.
Oh my God, I raised a failure. Oh no. That's so Asian. I love it. I love that. That's crazy.
Yeah. So then that 4 years of experience at Western kind of really broadened my horizon. And again, it was another, I feel like I put myself in a situation like this because I still remember the first year of university. Again, like I was like quite depressed. I was like, oh my God, like this is so outside of my comfort zone. But I ended up having the best time of my life. And so long story short, now that my life in Toronto, not that I intentionally not to engage. If anything, I actually feel like I'm in a place where like I desire to have more Taiwanese,
For sure,
community.
of course.
But like my life is like pretty awesome because like I just came back from a dance rehearsal. It's a samba dance,
Oh,
it's Brazilian
nice.
dance,
I
right? So
love. I
it's
know
like
that. Yeah.
yeah, like there are people from all walks of life, from all cultures. And yeah, I dance salsa and bachata as
Oh,
well.
all right.
Uh, so like things like that, it's like I feel like Toronto and Canada, like these big cities, Vancouver and Toronto, it's such a beautiful place to be where you can actually experience cultures through people. You don't need to
Yeah.
go to Brazil. You don't need to go to Mexico, like, yeah.
I think that's amazing, and again, that's one of the best parts I think of Canada. So, for example, like obviously we have the Mexican restaurant, but some of the things that my wife likes to do is go on Instagram and Pinterest and stuff like that, and kind of see what other people are doing, not necessarily in Taiwan, but like in Mexico and in all over the world, the States and stuff like that. And she followed this one like Mexican sort of bar thing, and the drinks were fancy and the food looked fancy, and just for ideas for how to plate food. And a few years ago when we went back to Canada, I thought, okay, well, she's been following this place for years, and I thought, we should find a place. They must have something like this in Vancouver. We can go check it out in person while we're there, right? Because again, I don't spend much time in Vancouver because I'm from Kitimat. You probably don't know it. It's like a small town in the northwest of BC. It's about 4 hours from Alaska. It's way up there, right?
Wow.
And so we don't. It's a 16-hour drive to Vancouver, right?
Wow.
So it's far. Yeah. So I thought, okay, when we're in Vancouver, let's do a couple days there. We'll try, at least one of these places, and we're like, okay, cool. So we go back to check out that Instagram page just to see, get the ideas, and then be like, okay, find something like that. And we never actually looked where it was, and it was actually in Vancouver, like the actual place she's been following for years. And I'm like,
oh wow,
let's go. We're gonna go. And so we went and we checked it out, and it was cool. It was really expensive. I thought, holy crap, and it was pretty good. The drinks, the stuff were good. I thought the food wasn't as good as I thought it could be. But that's just because I'm picky on that, and I think everything was a little bit small. But the whole vibe and the whole place, it was awesome, and it was a cool experience to bring my wife and my daughter there. I have a cousin that lives in Vancouver, and so we're like, hey, we're in Vancouver, come to this place. Dinner's on us, and it was really cool to see my cousin, and just it was awesome. So yeah, Vancouver, Toronto, the big cities, I think especially, it's like there's almost everything. And one of the other cool things is in Vancouver, there's a really big mall, the Metrotown Mall, right? And in the basement, like I guess B1 floor, there's this massive supermarket that I didn't know about. We're looking at it and we're like, well, what is that? We kind of walked by. It was all Asian people. And I'm like, okay. So we went inside, and it was just all the imported food from Asia. And it's just like, this is the China roll, this is the Taiwan roll, this is the Thailand, this is Vietnam. And we go into these aisles, and I'm like, holy crap, it was really cool. So I agree 100% that Canada, especially, it's like, it's so welcoming for immigrants, I think. And like, you can really find pretty much anything there. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's like even in this city, it's like in my neighborhood, there is like Indian restaurants that are open by Indians,
That's the
there are
best.
Jamaican restaurants, and like you go to like a Japanese izakaya
I
that's
love
like
those.
actually opened by Japanese people, so it's like and then like during the summer, there's like all kinds of festival. There's Greek festival, there's like
Love that.
Salsa on St. Clair festival. There's just all the festivals are celebrating different cultures. So yeah.
Even in my little town, on Canada Day, there's the big Canada Day parade, and kind of at the end of the parade, there is like a complex where there's all these food stalls like once a year, and then you got the Chinese food and the Greek food and like the Mexican food and whoever, all this food, and it's just like, it's so good. I love that.
Yeah.
You get like, yeah, it's so good. I love that. We have a question here. Salsa scene in Toronto versus Taiwan. Yeah. I actually don't
Actually,
follow the salsa scene here, so go for
I
it.
do, I do. I mean, like I don't know well, but I do go to social every time I'm back. Okay. Mm, mm, uh, I love the scene in Toronto. I
Yeah.
think it's so the way that I see it is like there I feel like there are people, and I think this is maybe also a bit of a cultural conditioning as well.
Uh-huh.
But like to me, I feel like there are people who are dancing and there are people who are doing the moves.
Oh, I know the feeling. Yeah.
And like I don't necessarily need people to know great techniques per se. I don't personally feel like I know great techniques, but I feel like in the like dancing in Toronto, there are more people who are more in their bodies
Yeah.
and they're enjoying the dance regardless of the techniques and how advanced they are.
Yeah.
I think like in Taiwan, it's like I love and I see that people are actually in a way they are have techniques and they're advanced in their moves, but sometimes I'm like, oh, like I want to dance with you. I want to like really like squeeze out this aliveness. Like show me your aliveness, you
Yeah.
know? Um, so I'll say they're both fun, but then like if I were to like compare a little bit, like this is the difference that I would say.
I actually agree. I think again, it's the schooling, it's kind of the upbringing. It's a very like logical, like step by step math sort of thinking here. Again, math is very good. Like for example, we do board games, me, my wife, and my daughter, and we'll do like strategy games and stuff like that. And my daughter's kind of in between both because I mean she's half, right, half and half, and so she's kind of good at both things. But when we do strategy games, it's like me and my daughter, and kind of dominating. But then anytime we do any kind of like math games or any kind of like numbers games, we just get destroyed. It's just like, oh my
By the
God.
Taiwanese
Yeah, I'm
like
like, there's no
exceptional
way.
math
It's
abilities.
just like and then and it's funny because in Taiwan it's very common where anytime there's a question about numbers, they'll just be like, and then they know the answer
Yeah.
before a calculator. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny. It's still a thing with me and my partner. It's like I'll be
yeah.
like, "Why don't you get this answer already? Like I already arrived at this answer like 10 seconds ago."
And then I'm like 5, 10,
Yeah.
5. Yeah, yeah. I'm so bad at that. But I want to talk to a little bit about um, you were talking about your career. So you did the marathon. We'll talk about that. But there was the empowerment. That's the key word. Yes. An empowerment
Empowerment.
guide, right? That's really cool. That's very
Yeah.
unique. Tell me about that.
Well, so essentially kind of like tracing these threads to now, like, as someone who grew up in Taiwan and felt like I was placed a lot of expectation upon myself. And I felt like, I've come to a place in my life where I have again choose to honor my truth. And like for me, like I empower others to do that as well, to essentially um, let go of the conditionings and the expectation that are being placed upon us and actually craft a life that is extraordinary in your own meaningful way. Um,
That's awesome.
so yeah.
Very
Mhm.
cool. I
Yeah.
feel that now, especially because AI is coming, and it's gonna replace a lot of like low level sort of jobs. But I feel like stuff like that AI can never do, like person to person stuff, like where you're
Yeah.
just like you can build a great person. Like I think that's amazing. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I think there's in a way, yeah, it's almost like this career it's like AI proof in
Sure,
a sense, or
it
like
is.
the rise of AI kind of like makes this career even more precious in a sense because more than ever we crave intimacy and
Yeah,
human interaction, and even just the power of being witnessed. I think a lot of what I do with my clients is simply just witnessing what they're going through and having that presencing and like, oh yeah, I see you. Like that itself is really healing that AI can't, no matter how good they seem to be.
I agree. I mean, I feel like that's going to be very important because a lot of people, especially with social media, right? They're kind of like, behind a screen, and people, they'll look at their cell phone and they will think, especially like for me, like I'm like a middle-aged guy. It doesn't affect me at all. But I'm talking about like kids or people, teenagers in their 20s or whatever that come up and they're just like, oh, this guy, he's my age and he's a millionaire and he's got a Lamborghini or whatever. And a lot of it's fake, right? People rent them and take pictures and stuff. But I think the younger generation, they don't really know that. So I think that, yeah, it's going to be super, super important. It is already important. And I feel that, yeah, that's a great career.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been very empowering. We have a question here.
We do. Could you see yourself do the mental health coaching in Taiwan? Would it be different in Canada? That is a good question.
Yes, definitely. I definitely can see myself doing it, and I would love to. I think I don't know if there would be difference because like this time coming back to Taiwan, when I met you, I actually started to do a bit more like workshops in Taiwan and all that, and collaborated with other brands. And what I found is that there is almost a assumption that Taiwanese or like Asians are not willing to go deep. But then for me, I came in because I'm like, I don't care about these assumptions.
I love it.
I think for me as a leader, as a coach, as a guide, when I open up the space and if I'm willing to go deep, I trust that you're willing to go to the extent that I open up the space for. Okay. So that's what I mean when I say I don't know if there's going to be difference for me as well, because I think I also carry this dualistic nature of like the two cultures within me, right? So
superpower.
Yeah, we were speaking English, but like I was also born and raised in Taiwan. Like I get it. I get the conditioning. I get the expectation like from my parents and culture and all that. So I am excited at the possibility of, supporting my people in the future. Yeah.
That's awesome. I also think that, just to touch on that, I think that having more than one culture is like I was saying, it's like a superpower, and like I grew up obviously Mexican and Canadian, and, in the house, everything would be like bright colors and Mexican food and loud music. And then you go outside and it's, it's very Canadian. It's very more like it's more kind of like mellow. Right. And so having both cultures was awesome. And I found that myself, I'm able to kind of, it's like a buffet. I always describe it as a buffet. I can kind of pick the things from the two cultures that I like and kind of build my own culture, right? Because there are some things in Canadian culture that are amazing and some things that are not good. Some things in Mexican culture that are amazing and some things that are not good, So like, for example, I always help my mom in the kitchen and now I have a restaurant, right? But when I went to Mexico, I remember as a kid, I was maybe like 10 or 12 and, my grandma was cooking. And, all the guys were kind of sitting at the table and, my grandma was old, right? And she's lifting heavy like stuff and she's cooking and she's just doing all this like labor work. So I went into the kitchen and I helped her. I'm like, Grandma, you need some help? And she's just like, no, you're a man. You're not supposed to help. And I'm like, what? That's ridiculous.
Oh, interesting.
And then all of my cousins were just like, oh my gosh, he's a kitchen guy, blah, blah, blah. So very, very, so again, that's a part of the Mexican culture that I didn't like. I thought, my grandma's old, she's amazing, so I'm going to help her, right? And all of the guys were like, well, that's weird. Why would you do that? And I'm like, because she's cooking for you, you dipshit. Go help her out,
Yeah.
It's just common sense for me, right? Yeah. So it was crazy, yeah. But I found that now being in Taiwan, kind of having the three cultures, I find there's a lot of similarities. Like the family is huge in Mexico, family's huge in Taiwan, and the street foods and the night market, and everybody's friendly and everybody's kind of willing to help. So yeah, again, I find a lot of the similarities with Taiwan and Mexico. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything that you love about the Taiwanese culture that you keep and make it your own?
I feel that I'm always kind of willing to help people, and Taiwanese people, they're always willing to help. And that's something that I kind of grew up with. And in Canada, it is there, but it's kind of like everybody's like, you're going to get ripped off, blah, blah, blah. So, you help people too much. But I always find that in Taiwan, people the people are very friendly. And I find that you just have like a sense of like really safety. Like Canada, obviously it's pretty safe too. Mexico, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But I feel that, there's a respect, that for example, if you go through a mall in like in Vancouver or something, and, you try not to make eye contact with, people that much. You do, but, if it's another guy, it could be kind of a signal of like, hey, fuck you looking at type deal. But in Taiwan, people just smile and it's cool. I think the friendliness and the safetiness is awesome. And I don't have to think too much. I have a little girl, right? And, she can take the train and stuff alone and stuff like that. So I still worry, but I wouldn't worry. It wouldn't be as much as, if it was Mexico or Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. We went to Japan a little while back, and you would see like 6-year-olds on the train by themselves. And I'm like, oh my God, I would never do that. But people would see them and just kind of like shoo them to the front of the line, and they're like, okay, it's a little kid coming through, so that's cool. I think that's a really cool thing about out here. Yeah.
And it's like, that's how it should be too,
It should be. I mean, it's a kid.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's how it should be. Like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna, why would you, it's a little kid or like, the elderly and stuff like that, hey, an old person comes on the train or whatever. I almost never sit, because anytime anybody comes, I'm just like, here, you can have my seat, right? I
Yeah.
pretty much never sit down unless I'm super tired. But if somebody comes through, then I just give my seat up anyways. Yeah. Little kid
It's
or
like the
a
kids.
woman. Yeah. Or anybody really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
I have a couple of like fun ones, like a couple of
Okay.
like rapid fire sort of things,
Okay.
just for fun. Like it's gonna be food related, obviously, right?
Oh my
So
God. Okay, let's do
let's
it.
go like a Canadian breakfast, Canadian American breakfast, or Taiwanese breakfast. What do you choose?
Oh, of course, Taiwanese
So
breakfast.
good, so good.
I have dan bing
Dumping,
and
yeah.
luo gao like
Mm.
pretty much every day being at home. Doujiang. I love
Is
it.
that one of the what's the first meal that you get when you come back? You're like, I'm landing in Taiwan. I'm getting
So
this.
I'm a spoiled brat. For the last 20 years I was away, my first meal was always my mom's homemade chicken soup.
Nice.
It was like without fail for the last 20 years. Every time my first meal, because it was always direct flight, whether from Vancouver or Toronto. So I always arrive early in the
That's
morning. So that's
awesome.
like my breakfast. It's like chef's kiss.
It's the best, right? Mom's food is
It's
the
the best.
best. I love that. Yeah. So good. Coffee, like black coffee or bubble tea? I think.
Ugh. Neither.
I know. All right. Okay.
Actually, I used to drink coffee,
Yeah.
but I'm not like, I feel like I've become more aware of like,
What's in it?
or not like how it affects my body. Like I just noticed throughout the last few years, like I can notice the agitation.
Sure.
So I
Yeah.
stopped drinking coffee. I love the coffee culture. Like I'll go
Yeah.
for like a nice latte. Like Taiwan has
Mhm.
in Tianmu especially, there's so
Yeah.
many coffee shops.
It's crazy.
So
So
I'll go
many.
I'll go for the vibe. I'll get like a
Yeah.
decaf latte and then I'll be like,
Nice.
yes.
Yeah.
I like bubble tea every once in a while. Um,
It's so
but
sweet though.
if I have
Yeah.
to choose either or, I'll probably say, is latte part of the option?
Sure. Yeah. Of course.
Okay,
Of
I'll
course.
go with
Yeah. Yeah.
latte.
Actually, that's what I usually drink too. I don't drink much
Yeah.
coffee unless it's like I'm tired. I need to have a coffee or something. Yeah, but I don't really do too much of that. Let's go. Niu mian or poutine.
Neural
Poutine,
mian.
of course. Right? Come on, no
Neural mian.
contest there. Yeah. Let's see. Find another good one here. So brunch cafe or or night market?
Ooh.
Both are
Ooh.
yeah,
See, that's the thing. It's kind
yeah,
of depending on where I am.
yeah,
I do like a brunch like
yeah.
cafe.
Bacon and eggs and yeah, that kind of
No,
thing.
I like cute brunch.
Okay, what's a
Cute
cute
brunch with
lunch?
like
Avocado
latte
toast.
art. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite food in Toronto and favorite food in Taiwan? It's hard to choose one, I know.
Food.
I'm a big food guy myself, so yeah.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
restaurant owner.
yeah.
I really like to drink soup. I think I'm like such a
Like
it's a
Huandun Tang, or like what's
I like
what's
Noro
your
Tang, I like Chi
okay.
Tang. I really
Okay.
like those like
Yeah.
boiled for hours, like Chi
Yeah.
Tang, the collagen and like
Yummy. Yeah.
yeah. Uh
Like a hot pot as well. Yeah.
I love hot pot
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we have our own little hot pot machine that we make
You
our own
got
hot pot
to.
here in Toronto. We're
That's
like, we
awesome.
have to.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a funny hot pot story, but I'll let you go first. Yeah. Yeah.
In Taiwan, wait, so that's I mean, soup in general. So I guess that's
Okay.
across the globe in Toronto or in
Okay.
Taiwan.
Is there a go-to soup you have in Toronto? Or Canadian soup?
So when I'm in Toronto, I don't know. I think like because I guess I'm also like more aware of like what I eat as well. And it's like when
Okay.
I go out and eat, I always just ended up resorting to like Asian food. And I really like to go to these like nice Japanese izakaya places because I
Delicious.
feel like they're like the Asian food that are like you feel like it still have like a date night vibe, like
Yeah.
cute, fancy, but it's
Yeah.
like delicious,
Yeah.
But I feel like let's say if you go to Italian food, it's like they're delicious, but you just
Yeah.
end up feeling so heavy
I
after.
feel like crap after. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I love Latino food as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we went
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
that's why I
Sure.
saw
I'm
you.
glad you
My
did.
dad
That's
is
awesome.
my dad is a big fan of Eddie, and his name is also Eddie. The
Yes.
Eddie with the
That's
IE.
awesome. Awesome. That's so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Your dad is that's really cool. I love that. Good name. Good name. Yeah. I think that I think that food is such an important thing. And I think that quick story. So Western Asian food versus like actual Eastern Asian food. Like what's your opinion on that? Sometimes I go back and you get like an orange chicken and I'm like, it's pretty good.
I would
But
never. I have never had orange chicken in
really, that's so
Canada.
funny. Yeah. It's
Like,
like it's like
yeah,
Taco Bell for you guys. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no, exactly. It's like no, 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 no.
People
I'm
ask me
like
about
that.
Taco
My ancestors would come hunt me in my dreams if I
Bell.
go
Come
have
back.
orange chicken.
So funny. So funny. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so funny. Like I remember, coming here and I'm just like, I'll just get like a chicken chow mein and like a, beef tomato fried rice. And people are like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, isn't that
Yeah.
Chinese food? They're like, no. Like,
No.
interesting.
It's like people in Canada think sushi is Japanese food. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like
I
you
know.
have not had Japanese food. There's
It's
so
so
much more
funny.
about Japanese food than sushi.
I love Japanese food. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, I mean, we could keep going forever, but I mean, I want to make sure, like, if you went back in time now, I'm not sure how old you are now, but if you went back to talk to your 14-year-old self, like you were just kind of landing, you're kind of in that almost like depressed mode because like, oh my gosh, it's a completely different world. What's something that what advice or what's something that you would say to your 14-year-old self? It's a tough question.
I think like the first thing that came up for me is that like she got it. Like she's such a badass.
Yep.
I so I don't really think she needs any advice. Like the
Okay.
only thing I would say to her is to just make sure she knows that like, hey, like you're not alone, like your future, you got you, and your future, you like, I'm here for you.
Okay. Okay. You nailed
Yeah.
that shit. So don't worry about it. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
she's a baddie. She got it.
So cool. That's so cool. I
Yeah.
mean, that trip is huge because, a lot of people, again, for me, when I talk about, I'm thinking about homeschool, blah, blah, blah. People will be like, why don't you just, send your kid to Canada with your parents? And I'm like, just because it's hard because I got one little girl, and I'm like, since she was a baby, she's basically with me. Like my whole life has been this kid for so long. So huge separation anxiety when she went to school to like grade 1. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
from me, not from her. She's like, see you, dad. I'm like, we can skip today if you want. Yeah, I'm
No.
like, no. So it's been pretty cool. So yeah, I think it's amazing what you've done. And yeah, I mean, when you come back to Taiwan, let's do a real one. Like, I mean, this is a real one, but let's do like an in-person one, I mean.
I
And
would love
have some
that.
stuff. It'd be great. Yeah.
I would love that. Well, and I think adding to what you said earlier,
Sure.
one thing I'll add though is that interestingly, even though I was telling my friend the other day, even though I'm the furthest away, I do feel like in a way I actually ended up seeing my parents more.
Mhm.
Like when my grandpa was alive, tended, I'm the one that actually spend the most time with him.
That
And I think
quality.
it's almost like, yeah, exactly. It's because I'm away. So when I'm back, I'm present with you. Like I'm here for you. Whereas I feel like sometimes when you're in the same city, it's
Sure.
like, oh, like, yeah, like it's like you just see each other once a month. But it's like when I'm with my parents, like this time I came back, I was with them for 6 weeks,
Yeah.
So and I think that was also one of the reason, which we can probably talk more about in our next time
Yeah.
hangout. That
Sure.
was one of the reason why I decided to go on this entrepreneurial path because I'm
Mhm.
like working for someone with only 7 days of vacation, at the time. I
Mhm.
cannot have the life that
Yep.
I have now to have the life I want in Toronto and also still be with my parents when I'm back in Taiwan for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think yeah, the family is big, and also for me when I go back to Canada, which is not that often, it's like every minute with mom or with brother or sister or with dad, it's really huge because
Yeah.
and then I'll tell my brother, I'm like, you should call dad more, take dad for lunch once a week.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but then they live in the same town and they almost never see each other. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude. And then when I go back, I'm like, everybody's got to come. We're gonna,
Yeah.
let's do something fun. And then
Yeah.
like my hometown friends and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I love going back, and I need to do it more often. So yeah, hopefully this summer we'll go back. We'll see. We'll see.
Mm,
Yeah.
nice, nice.
Is there anything you wanted to add that we didn't hit on? I mean, I think we're over the hour now, which is okay. We're chilling. But anything you wanted to make sure you got out there?
Well, no, I feel like like you said, there's always so much we can go in different
Yeah.
directions, but I appreciate that we just kind of take the natural course of our conversation.
Yeah, that's the way to do
Yeah,
it, I think, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it was really awesome, man. I can't wait to see you in person. I mean, it's really cool. I always feel that when you do a podcast, somebody you really get, it's like a crash course on friendship with this person. It's kind of crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I remember, like, every time I came back to Taiwan, I think it's like your restaurant is, like, where my dad and I had, like, dates. Like,
Oh, I
we,
love
like
that.
because I think,
Yeah.
like yeah, because I feel like growing up, we, like to go to, like, the more, I don't know, Western restaurant. Like, we used to go to, Chile, and then I
Sure,
think they
sure.
moved.
Yeah, they did.
So
Yeah.
then, like, your restaurant became, like, where we would go
Love
together, and
that.
then we'll have a drink together. But I remember, I think when I saw your podcast table, then I told myself, I was like, "Oh, maybe one day I'll, like, do a podcast
Hell
with
yeah.
you." And
Hell
then
yeah.
here we are.
Here we are. Yeah. And we'll do another one in person again. That'd be
Yes.
fantastic. I guess obviously you just left, but do you have any plans to come back? Is it like a once a year thing?
Yeah, it's a
Once a
once
year.
a year thing.
Nice.
So, usually Chinese New Year is where I
Yeah.
could just
Makes
make
sense.
the most bank the buck
Yeah.
most bang of my buck,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
where
you.
I see everyone at the same time, so it's most likely gonna be next year.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so let's keep in touch. And
Yes.
thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for the questions. If you guys have any more questions, I put your Instagram in the description below here, and people can contact you directly if they want to hit you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you so much, Eddie, for having me.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
watching, and we will catch you next week. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.